Hey guys, RPG Tweaker here, going to talk to you about the Emerald Spire adventure module from Pathfinder. It's what my current group has been doing. I am 2 weeks behind on my videos, so from 2 sessions. So I'm going to try and clear those up today and talk to you a little bit about it. If you want any additional information, please feel free to message me on Tumblr, RPG Tweaker, or you can talk to me here. More than happy to talk about anything gaming related. So, players go to explore level 3, which is the Splinter Den. As these worshippers of Norgabur, basically one of the players, Changa, gets himself captured as he's mutilating some corpses because he's a cannibal and he's getting some rations. The party doesn't know this because basically after they cleared up a little patch of level 3, they're like, oh, we're going to go back and rest because that last fight was rather tough. They had fought a Gibbering Mouther, which was a CR 5. And the Gibbering Mouther is immune to critical hits, has engulf attacks, all sorts of nasty stuff. So the party was like, well, we're going to go rest up on level 4 where the kobolds are all peaceful and, we can be safe there. So Changa the Witch goes, well, guys, I'll see you guys in a little bit. I'm just going to go mutilate the corpses and then I'll be all scared and dealing with stuff. Kind of cool points for doing that. But so anyway, as he's distracted, he gets shot from behind by a rogue, and then basically he's, because of some kind of narcotic that they're using or some sort of poison, he's confused. So then he tries to put the bad guy to sleep, doesn't work out, and then he gets knocked out. So then all of a sudden, like, the party goes and looks for him, finds him there inside a room, not the same one originally where he was mutilating the corpses, but like couple rooms up, there's a big hall and there's like an altar, and the rogue was like, Norgabur will have his sacrifice, and goes for the coup de grace on the unconscious and tied and gagged witch. So now coup de graces are critical hits, it's just an automatic. So now what I did is I used my critical hit decks. I have critical hit and critical bump decks. I've talked about it before in other videos, but anyway, so I draw the card. And it's, the person is permanently blinded, and it explains a little bit about what that does. It's bad news bears. So the player is like, oh man, so even if I make it out of this, I'm permanently blind, which there are means to like cure that. It's not forever and ever, but it's definitely inconvenient and expensive to try and get that going when you're low level, of course. So the players chase after the rogue who's like cut the witch. The rogue gets one more he gets like nicked with an arrow and like a little bit of stuff, but he basically takes another chop at the witch, and the witch survives these 2 attacks with some fantastic fort save rolls. So he's left at like -1 hit point away from like total death. Party goes after the rogue, who escapes down through a door at the bottom of the room. They bust down the door, they find like a bathroom, like the Jakes or guard robe, privy, whatever you want to call it, and then they're like, where'd he go? So the barbarian investigates by smashing it with her hammer, and then, oh look, it's a ladder that goes down from the one room over up to the other room. So they follow, and then they go in, they find the rogue, beat him down. After a little bit, and he has some of his buddies with him, so what happens is that they go back to find the witch, and the witch is gone. So they're like, oh man. So they go in and start exploring the level to see if they can find where their buddy is. So they take the top left corner where there's some sarcophagi and whatnot. They break it down and check things out, oh, treasure, and etc. But what they find is a wight who starts laying out energy attacks and negative levels left, right, and center. So when you're only level 3, almost level 4, and you start losing levels, that's a huge deal. It's like, doesn't matter what level you are, but low level, it's extremely dangerous. So the party was on their toes for that fight for sure. So now the party has killed a few more rogues before they make it to where the leader is, Tarandar. So she has a couple of guards and whatnot posted out to the side and everything. So after the party kills them, they check them for loot, and they find a fairly large bag of holding, and inside is the witch, Changa, who, because it's been several hours since they've done whatever and gone back and all that stuff, is dead. So if they had gone to him first, Instead of chasing out the rogue, or at least if one person had, they would have been able to realize that he was alive, save him, etc. So this one was like kind of my way of saying, like, sorry guys, you guys didn't kind of go back and do whatever. You thought he was dead, sure. I'm glad you didn't use any sort of meta knowledge on that, because it would have quashed it pretty hard. I'm not a big fan of metagaming or that kind of knowledge. It's hard to separate sometimes, but like you really just need to have like your stuff. Like, my guy knows this stuff up front. I have ranks in this. I know what's going on, etc. Not like, oh, I have all this kind of stuff. Unless you're a bard or someone else that has those kind of knowledge skills. So anyway, the party goes after into the top right of the Splinter Den, and they start finding Tarandar. And Tarandar basically is the leader of the cult of Norgerber, I guess you could call it. These that live in the Splinter Den. The party starts to extort information from her. They start to threaten her, etc. And then she just has enough and she starts attacking. So the party's already kind of worn out from the little skirmishes that they've had throughout the floor, but then they really start trouble with Terran until Magda Fireveins, my bard, casts blindness, deafness, roll to save. It's like a 1. It's like, oh man, well, you are totally done. So the party takes care of these two acolytes fairly quickly, and then goes to cut down Tarandar. So now the party has beaten what they think is the boss, which they're right. So now they're feeling confident that they've cleared the floor, etc. Even though I kind of dropped a little bit of a hint that there are, there's only about half the rogues that you guys have actually killed are the ones that, were kind of at home or upgrading or new or something. These guys, the more experienced ones, are going to be coming up and doing all that kind of stuff. So it was something that they definitely wanted to watch out for. So the party explores her room for loot and such, and they find a secret passage that leads to basically a whole library of books about blackmail, about influential NPCs or characters from For Inevitable and from Thornkeep, like Bandit City. So in the middle of this, and while they're looting whatever, all of a sudden an emerald automaton, so basically a construct with certain properties, starts attacking the party, and the party's like, oh man, we weren't ready for this at all. So basically the party is running around trying to get that stuff all figured out, and they just barely make it through the fight, because I had a thing where when he was at less than half hit points, every time they hit him with a melee attack, then he would shoot out like a d6 of reflex for half of lightning energy, which, when you do a couple of hits and you have several people hitting, it can really add up. So some of the party members were down, some were getting back up, some were getting healed, some were getting back up. We ended up winning the fight. It was pretty awesome. And then we all went to go rest, because we definitely needed some rest. So the party went and had some downtime and rested, gave Changa his proper burial, and that was the end of, not last week, but the week before's Pathfinder session. So again, if you guys need anything, please feel free to send me an ask or a message, email, whatever, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye guys.